muito tempo de resiliência. Onde a vida passar, onde a vida passar, onde a vida passar. Onde a vida passar, é muito tempo de resiliência. Onde a vida passar, onde a vida passar, onde a vida passar. Onde a vida passar.
Hello, Little Guys Incorporated. It's your nightly gooner, Diesel, back at it again. And holy shit, Am I fucking tired, guys? Holy fuck. Don't worry, it's gonna be another one of those streams. It's gonna be one of those streams where I'm delirious and then I go, "Oh, guys, I can't do this anymore," and then clock out. You know, fucking okay, so let me explain why I'm tired, okay? Let a let a let a Latino boy tell you what's up. I'm dressed like a mechanic today. Um I'd say this is a Halloween costume. It's not. I just dress like this on a normal day. Um so I for those of you that don't know, I run kids D&D on Saturdays. Very exhausting. Um and then I don't usually run an event on Fridays. I ran an event on Friday. Laura was there. Hi Laura. Um I am tired and I almost had nobody. I had to call my mom to come in and help me run the store because I had nobody to help me cover the shift, and I had 8 players for kids D&D. 8. Do you know how fucking difficult that is? Okay, listen, I don't want to say that I'm an amazing DM, but I think I might be like one of the best, actually. Okay, and I think I'm allowed to gas myself up for that. Diesel, not here to distract, but check your DMs. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? No, really? Oh, brother, what a surprise. Not me. What an interesting time. Are we surprised? I'll get to that in a second. Yeah, man, but we also had town Halloween, right? So all the youths were out and I had to like manage a store while also like running kids D&D while also giving people their candy and fucking stressful. Yeah. No, I'll pull it up in a second, but yeah, that's why I'm pretty spent. I have these next 2 days off. I think I need extra time, but I can't really take it right now. But I am fucking feeling it today. Um, yeah, that's really it. I decided I'd cover the jar Velma video because I was sitting like on my bed, existentially existing. And then I thought to myself, man, YouTube reviewers always just like explain the plot and then they like explain the plot but with snark and then they say that's a review. That's just like you being a fucking asshole, actually. You're not like reviewing anything. Anyway, we'll just skip right ahead to this. Emiru has accused Mizkif of SA.
And I was crying like crazy because the emotions were just very high because I was dealing with a lot of major shifts in my life as a result of me attempting to start to try to distance myself from him. So yeah, we were just talking and I was crying a lot. He started to try to comfort me by hugging me while I was sitting on the couch and holding me really close to him. And when this was happening, we hadn't talked in quite
That's
a while.
lot. That is a lot of Kirby in the background. That's a lot of Kirby in the background. Was that the guy to try? No, Mizkif. Okay, let's back it up now, all right? Because this just changed. I'm not gonna cover this the entire stream, but okay. TLDW. Mizkif was one of the owners of OTK. For those of you that don't know, he was in charge of it, or not in charge of it, but he was one of the founding members and he took a leadership position in OTK, which is a gamer organization like FaZe. And he ended up leaving his leadership position after the Crazy Slick allegations. The Crazy Slick allegations are when one of Mizkif's homies was accused by another streamer of being a sex pest, and all evidence seemed to have pointed towards that. But then it seemed to have gotten litigated into a black hole, and Mizkif reassumed his position. I should also say that OTK's leadership included Asmongold before his time when he left. Asmongold, as you guys know, is a disgusting vermin of a human being who has to chase down water with soda. So there we go. Is that what Asmongold hinted at? It is. It does sound a bit like it would have been. Mizkif was very close with Crazy Slick, which is why I'm sitting here going, I'm not surprised. I also, and this is a conspiracy theory, this is totally just my opinion, man. I know Mizkif Glazers are crazy, and this is my opinion. My opinion, right? My opinion means no fucking idea if this is true or not. It's just what I believe in my heart of hearts, right? So Mizkif, I think, is like a fucking piece of shit, right? There's stuff he did during the Crazy Slick stuff asserted to me on my assessment and judgment and looking at everything involved around that. That guy is a fucking freak, and he was defending his friend and basically did John Sweeper, okay? People want to talk about commentary sweeping. Mizkif and OTK did like some fucking NBA level, LeBron James level sweeping, okay? We're talking like the attorneys investigated the company and found that the company did no wrongdoing type shit, okay? That's the kind of guy he is, right? But my opinion, every time I would talk about Mizkif, I would get inundated, absolutely reamed with like insults and pejoratives and harassments. I would get less harassment from more contentious things I've covered, from more contentious opinions I've given, right? None have generated the kind of response that me shitting on Mizkif has done, right? Every time I could talk about Ethan, Hassan, Destiny, and Cameron. I got a lot of harassment for that, by the way. Nothing compared to the Mizkif stuff. I could talk about like I could give like a hot political take, and I would not get as much harassment as I would get when I cover Mizkif, right? It's very strange. I don't know why. It always happens. It's like the guys that defend Mizkif have him on like Google Alerts or something. It's really fucking weird. And my crackpot theory is not that this is Google Alerts, it's that it's paid. I think if we're talking about botted streamers, in my opinion, I think he's one of them, okay? I think there's some artificiality there. And it's all these accounts that all they do is have like a Pepe profile picture or a Pepiga, right? And they will get in the weeds of any argument possible on Mizkif's behalf. So maybe they're just generational level glazers. Strange that you do it for free, right? But every time I would tweet about him, it would happen, right? And they would like go through my tweets or do whatever they could to like rip me to pieces, right? The level of it was weird. And it would be like they have like a messy profile picture or like a Pepiga. And all I could think was like either you're 12 or a bot, because there's no in between. All right. The everybody's 12 theory remains to be true. But this would happen all the time when I would be like when I would cover Mizkif stuff, right? So it was one of those topics where I was just like, Jesus fucking Christ, I've never gotten harassed this much by the audience of a streamer. Isn't he some strange Hassan not orbiter? He's not really a Hassan orbiter at all. I think you've been smoking the EHD pack too much. I'm sorry, dog. I'm sorry, but I think you might be too deep in the sauce. Mizkif is just like one of those bro streamers in Texas. That's really just the way that you like quantify him. Does he interact with Hassan? Yeah, but like fucking so many streamers do. It's not like I feel like Hassan orbit requires you to like cover politics in some capacity, right? Like when it's that fat lady, when it's that fat lady that I don't care because she's unimportant and carries no favor with political discourse, that fat hijab lady, non-derogatory, said wokely. He said wokely as he strutted pronounly across the hall. He strutted wokely as he pronouned across the hall, saying, "What are your pronouns? That's very they, them of you." Frogan, thank you. So Hassan and Miz ran in similar circles until the crazy slick stuff. Okay. Yeah, but the implication, I feel like to be a Hassan orbiter, you need to like cover politics, right? So like lots of streamers and creators have interacted with Hassan, but that doesn't mean they're a Hassan orbiter. You know what I mean? Like me being in a photo with a creator does not mean I am like in their content niche. Do we understand that as a concept, right? I hope we do, right? But that's one that I don't think like. Remember, Diesel has pronouns and a husband. Right? They look, man. I not to get lost on the thoughts on denims, guys. Let me quantify Ethan Hassan Destiny. Not only do I not care about it, right? There's plenty of reasonable criticisms you could make towards like a Hassan or any politically based streamer for that matter, myself included. The problem that I have with a lot of it is that it's just, I kind of feel like it's just like an extension of team sports. It doesn't, I thought you purposely forgot Frog Bint's name, but I don't blame you. I literally don't. I literally didn't remember until somebody mentioned Frogan. Because the thing is that I think outside of Hassan, the rest of those orbiters have zero impact on discourse. And even from that, I listen to a lot of guy who listens to a lot of NPR. I'm certain you can make a Wojak out of that. But like in all the times that I've listened to the news, he's never come up. Like I think his impact is grossly overstated. I'm not saying it's completely it's not there, but I think you get a lot more traction from people that have more skin in the game. He just doesn't have the skin in the game. They don't. Are they idea makers? Sure. And maybe you find a lot of those guys super provocative when you're like 18, 19, 20. But like by the time you're 25 and you hear some of these political streamers, you're like, what the fuck? Like that's complete like you just can't. Like it'd never happen. Right? Like a pie in the sky thinking, but it's just it doesn't really do much, right? So I think a lot of people get worked up and are really passionate about it, but then in the same token, I don't even think they go and vote, you know, like any of these people on either side of the equation, right? Speaking of, there's a lot of local elections going on. I'm not going to say that you should vote unless you know who's running, and then you should vote accordingly. All right, I will not be a streamer that says go vote. Blanche Cart, please read up on what the people actually support before you go do that. EHD is annoying. I'll never forget the stream where you leverage criticism at both. Someone came in at the time where you criticized Hassan and threw a bitch fit. Dude, I'm not like giga woke. Like I'm woke, but like I understand why. Listen, if you're left, you understand why they lost the last election, okay? And it's not just because they threw Camilla in late. EHD sounds like a condition. It is. I think it poison pills. EHD poison pills like all other drama discourse. Because I can't talk about another creator without some like 2 IQ Andy being like, well, oh, well, he interact with Shock Collar Hassan. Okay, Hassan is giga famous in terms of the internet, not in terms of like popular culture, right? He's a top 1% streamer, and you're judging another streamer's actions on the basis of them being in the same room or interacting with Hassan. Buddy, if you've been around on the internet long enough and you're a creator, you're going to interact with tons of people that end up in shit. That's like judging any creator for anybody they've interacted with at any point. I remember that. I saw the VOD a few months ago. Anyway, we're getting very distracted, okay? The point of I don't care about EHD. That's really it. I don't care. I don't care, right? Like, that's really it. I don't even care about the ACC stuff. I forget all of these people's names, right? Like, I do. Sometimes people are like, oh, Diesel, do you remember? Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, who? I don't remember. I was just reviewing. I'm re-uploading a lot of my shorts to TikTok right now, and I'm drawing a blank. See, what happens is that if I have context, I can start to remember, but I don't store this information in my like recall memory.
Diesel, have you decided to have a streaming outfit, or is this just a new favorite shirt of yours?
This is a new favorite shirt of mine, actually. Yeah, I'm a big fan of this shirt. I like it. I think it makes me look cool. Thank you. What did Velma do to the Clanker? I want to get to that. I don't really care about like the ACC stuff either. I keep fucking forgetting the people's names or like their lore, and I constantly need a chatter to jog my memory on it because I don't store it in my personal recall, right? Like I stopped to be frank, mark that off on your bingo. I stopped like being plugged into the culture probably about 2021. And then I was plugged in like a lot in 2023. And now I'm like unplugged again because I'm just not there in my life. I think when I was younger, I was there, but I'm not there anymore. The bloopity bloppity drama. I remember it was Dice. I was re-examining the TikToks I did on the Dice server about ACC, and I can't remember their name, but they're like they were like a psychotic 16, 17-year-old who's like, I'm a god. You should all worship me, but also I'm humble and crazy. And some other shit.
Our Diesel is wearing a mechanic's shirt like the mask lesbian he styles himself on.
You know. You dress men dress for the woman they want, okay? I need a mask, they, she, bisexual top to show me what a good time is. Oh my god. Anyway, let me finish the rest of this clip so I can move on to fucking Giga Cringe Jar, okay?
And I'm usually very uncomfortable with.
All right, I should just to also preface this in my opinions on Mizkif. I just believe her. All right, I haven't even finished the clip.
With being touched a lot by people that I'm not in a relationship with. But I let him hold me while I was crying. And he started kissing me in my face, and I let him do it. I was still sobbing a lot. And then suddenly he tried to climb on top of me and aggressively shoved his hand down my pants.
Jesus Christ.
And I screamed.
You know, okay, guys, let me get out ahead of this and do the discourse, right? There was only 2 people in the room. It's he shed, she shed. Mizkif is going to come out and deny these allegations. His audience will defend him. Asmongold will fence sit on this one. I think Asmongold is going to fence sit on this one. Okay? That's what I think he's going to do. Because he's going to say, I don't know, we weren't there.
Yeah. And when I screamed,
Right? And Twitter, one side is going to be woke and be with Emiru, and the other side is going to be against Emiru and be based and say, men good. Other side will say, men bad. And then they'll argue back and forth, and this one won't reach a reconcilable conclusion. And or maybe part 3 of this will be Mizkif litigating legally, like in court, against Emiru. That's what I think will happen. And then none of us will know anything forever, and then it'll get smashed in court. And because it's civil court, when Mizkif walks away without being labeled guilty, people are gonna go, Mizkif's innocent, as if that's how fucking civil court works. There we go.
he jumped off me like a cat, like. And instead of apologizing or checking if I was okay, he said,
By the way, this story that she's telling, I've heard similar stories and we've watched similar stories, right? But what's Amaranth's take on this? I don't care what anybody's take on this. You can't believe it that she will give one. She'll give a take for sure. Right? But fuck, what was I gonna say before that? Maya Higa is gonna lie about it again.
I feel weird now. I feel like I did.
She's gonna go, I am Maya Higa, and then sweep for it. Oh, here's what I was gonna say. This story she's telling about her having a vulnerable moment and crying and all this stuff, and Mizkif going and like in for a reasoning or whatever. I've heard of this a lot. Why is it that there's all these like Gen Z like men? I mean, I guess you know, Mizkif is like a zillennial, you know, but what is with like all these zillennial men when a woman is having like a vulnerable moment, they take that as like the moment to try and swoop in, right? Is it because they've like watched movies and they assume that's when it's supposed to happen or something? Like, Jesus Christ, you know, maybe it's okay to just be like a supportive person in that time. Like that's, I'll always remember this was a very, I had a very healthy last relationship, right? And my partner at the time, they had a family member who died. And it happened when we were together and we were at a hotel room and it was kind of late. And you know, that happened and we, you know, I was supportive and we were together and we just spent time together that evening, right? And we woke up the next day and she's like, I thank you so much for not trying to like getting us to like have sex last night, basically. To just, you know, simplify the conversation. That was it. And all I could think in the back of my head was like, why would I do anything else but be supportive when that happens? Like that's actually crazy, right? But I have a feeling that there's a lot of men who just like think it's the time when something like that happens. Needless to say, it's not the time.
something wrong.
Yeah, it all goes back to the performative feminist guy
I
script.
have to go. And he immediately left my house while I was still crying without checking if I was okay or anything. And at the time,
I wonder if it's because it's hard for them to be empathetic for people they aren't romantically involved with. Maybe, I don't know.
Excuses for him, and I was still afraid of causing trouble for other streamers around us, or like, you know, making things weird for viewers. I know that probably sounds crazy, but like
Easy prey kind of thing. I saw that tweet today where it was like a polyamorous person dating a monogamous person, and the polyamorous person was like, haha, well that's because you're a bottom and they like want to defend their territory or something.
like I just felt this pressure, like I had to try to keep things together, if that makes sense.
Yeesh. Anyway, I think we all know what's gonna happen with this one and where we're gonna go. Look, man, I don't want to bet too early in this race, but we know that Mizkif is not going to have his career obliterated from this, number one. 2, we know he's going to double down and say it didn't happen. 3, he's not going to apologize. 4, he's going to make it look like Emiru wanted it. 5, we're all going to have the discourse over he said, she said. And then 6, nothing is going to happen. Not to do the nothing is going to happen Chud Jack, but it's really not going to reach any viable conclusion, and I would not be surprised for the Mizkif Glazers.
He was making his move. I genuinely think he's only friends with all the attractive streamer ladies to make moves on them when the opportunity presents itself.
That's probably that. Yeah, I would not be surprised on that. Honestly, I would not be surprised. Like, fuck. Trust me, I got female friends I would never want to date. Like, I have plenty of beautiful friends, beautiful people, and some of you bitches be tripping. I'm not gonna lie. I can't even front, man. Anyway, let's watch Jar talk about Velma. So I, of course, like many Zillennials are kind of in the millennial range, right? Where I grew up with a lot of the golden, quote unquote, golden age of Hal isn't one of them, right, Diesel? You know, if I'm not answering that. She's not talking to me right now. I do have I can't say that either. I mean, I can say that. Okay. What I was gonna say was there are definitely some viewers of mine that if they accosted me, I'd be like, damn, girl, take me home. I'm very easily persuaded. Yeah, that was my statement. That's it. That's the tweet. Boom, send. What's the age range for Zillennials? It's like 1995 to 2001 or like 98 or 99 or something. I feel like 9/11's the cutoff, right? Can 9/11 be the cutoff? Like Zillennials like a 9 like is pre 9/11, you know? But have you seen season 2 of Velma? I haven't seen season 1, motherfucker. Good save. Hey, well, what I'm saying, Midge, here's what I'm saying. I'm saying that, like, I'm saying if you're a viewer, there's a chance. Yeah, so like I as a millennial still got a lot of the millennial treatment, and millennials love early 2000s and 90s Scooby-Doo, right? So like they like the Zombie Island movie, they like the one that was like they were in Salem and they met the Hex Girls, they like Scooby-Doo Cyber Chase, they like Scooby-Doo Supernatural. They like the Scooby-Doo crossovers. They like the 2000s movie. And by the way, the Pointless Hub video is what brought this on, right? And Pointless Hub brought up a very good point in his video where he was like, not a lot of people are actually fans of like Scooby-Doo. They're not like actually fans. They like know of Scooby-Doo, but very few people are actually Scooby-Doo fans, right? Mystery Incorporated. Yeah, Mystery Incorporated is like a Gen Z thing, right? It was almost like a redo of the character archetypes of the characters in Scooby-Doo, right? So Gen Z fucks with Mystery Incorporated and all the shit that the millennials liked. But I'm telling you what the millennials liked. And this Velma show was targeted at those millennials, right? I mean, Scooby-Doo only fucks for the most part. It very rarely doesn't. Well, I was thinking about it from the times when I watched the OG Scooby-Doo cartoon from the 70s. That show sucked. It fucking sucked. I'm sorry. Hot take. 90% of Scooby-Doo media is terrible. You can't tell me that Scooby-Doo meets Kiss was like a good time. It was, not only was it not for you, it's not that good at all. Obviously, I have a lot of nostalgia for Cyber Chase and the Hex Girls and all that stuff. I think there was this moment in time in the 90s where they were trying to take Scooby-Doo a little bit more seriously. But it didn't really land with a lot of people. I mean, Gen X, we watched Scooby-Doo because we had 3 channels and it was on. Yeah. I feel like Vimsy Pop was on the writing team for the new show. See, I think the Vimsy Pop character writing is a lot stronger. But we're just going to get into it because I have a prediction, chat. I have a prediction. So this is a 2-hour video, and I hazard a guess that this video, the bulk of its runtime, is actually a recap of the series Velma. I think that this is a recap of the series, right? With him making snarky remarks, and then him also saying how these characters aren't like the original. But most of the characters get reinterpreted, right? Except for Shaggy and Scooby, which is true. And I'll give that. Velma, the show, just straight up changes that. It just straight up changes that, which the usual only consistent was always Shaggy and Scooby. But all the other characters in Mystery Incorporated were fair game to reinterpret. But I think this video is going to just be him recapping it, him being snarky about it, and him making those obvious comments, right? So I'm going to try and beat it every time it comes up.
World, it feels like there's just so much division between people. The culture war feels like it's every—
Diesel, stop. You're spoiling almost every review of this show. No, Manny. I'm spoiling every movie reviewer on YouTube, period. Okay? All Critical Drinker does is complain about the woke mind virus, recap a movie he felt was mid, and then do it while being drunk and vaguely smug. I'm sorry, guys. You're not Mr. Plinkett. You actually don't have the creative chops of Mike Staklasa, who is 2 foot in the grave.
everywhere nowadays, and as time has gone on, it feels more and more inescapable. At times it may feel like people on the left and the right can't agree on, well, anything.
This is how you know he's autistic, because he views politics through the lens of Team Fortress 2.
But every now and then, there's someone or something that is just so terrible that the left and the right put aside their differences and agree to hate it together. Whether it's Daft Noodles, Lily Orchard.
Daft Noodles! But my how this is aged, dude.
Kanye West. And of course, the subject for today's video.
How much do you want to bet there's an EDP joke in this 2-hour-long video?
Velma. Now I promised you guys that if my Velma video got 7K likes, that I would do a full review of the entire series. In retrospect,
I am so excited for him to tell us about the entire runtime of this show.
I really should have asked for more because I did not want to review this series. I could tell just from the first episode that this would easily be the worst series I've ever reviewed. And that's coming from a guy who reviewed all of She-Hulk, Kenobi, and Twilight. I said that She-Hulk felt like a show that was just designed to piss people off. But I wish I didn't say that because Velma definitely deserves that description way more. It was expected for people on the right to hate this show, but even people—
Do we ever get a definite confirmation of Daft Noodles trying to get into the government? That's news to me too.
Not to be that guy, but at least Drinker published his book Diesel.
Oh, actually, I have a 40-page version of the book that's gonna be coming out, so can't even do that one on me anymore. Ha ha.
People on the left hated it. No one had any idea who this show was made for. But before I begin, I want to debunk the rumor that this show became successful because of hate watching. I talked about this in detail in a different video, so if you want more information, go check that out. But to sum it up, the article—
Why hate watching isn't real. I'll be honest, I've hate watched a TV show before, and I've like kept watching because I was just so in deep. There was like a sunk cost fallacy.
that everybody loves to point to said that its premiere was the most watched.
Can we get special guest Vincent for this video to agree with Jar forever? I don't even disagree with a lot of the criticisms of Velma, right? My criticisms are like different but similar, you know?
thing on HBO Max. And even then, it was only the most watched animated and animated original show.
Oh no, that was me watching 24 Frames of Nick review it before I found out he was crazy. Guys, do you remember when 24 Frames of Nick, parentheses, former friend of Diesel, like went in my DMs, tried to pocket watch me. Meanwhile, he was giga gambling and like destroying his life. And then also coming at me about how I had a miserable life as a drama frog. Meanwhile, here I am, happy, thriving, and enjoying my life as an individual. It's almost like that he had nothing in his life aside from gambling, and then he decided to wake up.
Guys, we found the strongest man in the world, and we know he's the strongest man in the world because for one day, he was the strongest man in the world while standing on top of a raft and wearing a sombrero. Episode 1 starts off with Velma saying that this is her origin story. Put a pin in this because we'll see just how well this works as an origin story for Velma. First of all, her race is completely wrong, and no, she doesn't.
Oh my god. How did I not? All right, look, man. Shaggy's black in this show, okay? Shaggy's black. They changed the race of both Velma and Shaggy in the show. Also, Daphne is Asian now, okay? Who gives a shit? Who unironically is like really passionate about Velma being Asian? Okay. Also, I thought Velma was Asian before this, by the way. Okay. I know she's like brown, but like she would still be like Asian, correct? Like geographically speaking.
Become a white girl at the end of the season. And as you guys are well aware, Scooby-Doo, you know, the star of the Scooby-Doo show, never shows up in the show at all. That would be like making the Mario movie without having Mario in it. Then she says that origin stories are usually about tall, handsome guys struggling with the burden of being handed more power. Now, from my experience, origin stories are normally about poor losers who, yes, normally do look attractive, but they don't struggle with the burden of having power. They struggle with the burden of responsibility that power gives.
Okay. Velma, she's Indian. Isn't that part of like Southeast Asia, right? Or does that not count? What is like the geographical region of that there? Is Shaggy black in this show because they wanted artist Shaggy as a character? I don't know.
You know, now that I think about it, did they make Daphne Asian because she does martial arts in the original?
Well, I thought that she only did martial arts in the 2000s movie where they had Sarah Michelle Gellar play Daphne.
Gives them. After all, with great power comes great responsibility. Responsibility.
Also, this is a really reductive criticism of anything, right? So it's like, yes. Yeah, Indian is Southeast Asian. All right, checkmate liberals. Checkmate liberals, I'm still right. They actually didn't change her.
Being something that Velma completely lacks. Then she says, and if they are about girls, it's usually like, hey, what made this hot girl go crazy? Aside from Harley Quinn, what show about a girl has that premise? She-Hulk didn't have that premise, Twilight didn't have that premise, Witcher Blood Origin or Ahsoka didn't have that premise. This is just a made-up problem. But there is one show aside from Harley Quinn where I asked this question. This show! Yeah, throughout the show I was asking myself, why is Velma such a crazy bitch? And we find out later
I forgot about that live-action fucking movie, dude. They love that movie.
it's because her mom left her and she was also hypnotized or something. Oh no, wait, I'm wrong. Velma does not fall in this category because she was talking about hot girls. Yeah, I talked about this in my video, is race bending making people more racist? And in that video, I brought up how the worst
I gotta be honest. I think those people are just racist when they're complaining about it. Most of the time, when I've seen it done, it's like non-complainable, like it's not worth complaining about. There we go. Let me speak in proper English, okay? Like nobody. Okay, if you actually gave a shit about Amber and Invincible, by the way, you're like a mentally ill loser, okay? I think they were always American. Americans identifying as being American overseas is always a bit of a tough one, okay? I don't think Americans realize that whether or not they're white in Britain, they still stand out.
Version of Velma is the one that they race bent. Like, imagine if I made a race bent version of myself and he was like, yo, man, it's me, Jamaican Jaw. I'm gonna eat this baby. Then
Dude, here we go. Jar with the digital blackface.
Goes on to say that she was the one who assembled the Mystery Inc. team and not Fred.
You is a motherfucker, you know that?
Oh my god, it's like Batwoman. It turns out this whole time, a man was actually taking credit for a woman's work. We cut to a bunch of 15-year-old girls showering together. A lot of people freaked out about this, but come on, I've seen what animes you guys watch. Honestly, this is pretty tame compared to half of them. Two cockroaches start banging. Apparently this is supposed to be funny or something. Fun fact, did you know that all cockroaches are intersex? Penis! And they decide which one will carry the baby by fighting. Whoever wins is the dad, and whoever loses is the mom. Yeah, make an anime around that premise. Oh, who am I kidding? I'm pretty sure that already exists. Daphne, who is, Asian, by the way. Like, I'm not saying that Asian gingers don't exist, but they're insanely rare. Hell, even white gingers are pretty rare. Believe it or not, one time I saw a black ginger with blue eyes. There's gotta be only like a dozen of those in the world. His nickname was...
The thing, Jar's memory is, I remember you by the race of your skin. All right, calm down, autistic SS.
And by the way, Daphne says to one of the other girls, have you ever noticed that pilots for TV shows normally have a lot more sex and nudity than the rest of the series? And while that is something I have noticed, and this is a pretty subtle fourth wall joke, it isn't funny. It's just above, hey look, reference. Velma comes into the shower room role-playing as Gordon Freeman. She of course assaults people and asks Daphne, how do you feel about race-blind casting? Which by the way is the practice of casting without considering the actor's ethnicity or race. Now I'm one of those people who likes it when, you know, the actor looks like the character they're playing. I guess that makes me a racist or something.
Wait a second, what? Hey, I can't tell. Is he playing a bit right now? Is that his actual take or what? Wait, what? I feel like that is like anti whatever his position was. What is that's his position?
And in animation, this is even easier because characters can be, well, any ethnicity you draw them as.
Wait, what? Why? I thought we don't care for... I thought we don't like race bending the characters. We've been race bending characters because the voice actors are the same color of skin as the actors, right? That's like the opposite of the argument he's making, though. I think that's his actual take. Yeah, but it's his like take. I thought was if you shouldn't have to like race bend a character, but 90% of the time, every time we race bend a character, it's because we cast the voice actor, and the voice actor's like a different skin color.
He is voiced by an Asian woman, and she's Asian in the show. Velma is voiced by a South Asian woman, and that's what she is in the show. Basically, I'm trying to say that this show was not made through blind casting. The casting was very deliberate. Daphne says that as an
But, like, you don't know what came first, right? Like, okay, we all know that this was a fucking Mindy Kaling, like, vanity project, right? But also in the same time, like, you actually can't know that. Like, you literally can't know that because you weren't there.
Asian woman, she thinks it would be cool because she would get more job opportunities. Okay, there's a very good reason as to why there's not a lot of Asian actors and actresses in Hollywood. It's for the exact same reason why you don't see a lot of Asians working at McDonald's or working construction. It's because
it's because they predominantly go into medicine and engineering. Is that what you're about to say? Are you going to say that you know, their race just sends them more often to those places?
There's very few Asians in America. Hey, there...
I think the average American severely underestimates the amount of people that live in America. Yeah. Jar's like, why aren't there enough? Where's all the Chinese people in media? Jar says. Jar's response: they are doing math, not the voice acting.
There's not a lot of Native American actors in Bollywood. Well, maybe it's because there's very few Native Americans who live in India, which...
What? That is a nonsense argument, too. That is such a nonsense argument, all right? Yeah, we could... let's put this into a reasonable perspective, right? Why do we keep casting Latinos as Native Americans in Western movies? Why do we keep doing that, guys? What could possibly be the reason that we do that? Perhaps we would get more Cherokee actors, and we do from time to time, right? Like that Predator movie, Prey.
Tusky celebrates 12 months of membership. Why is the robot with the funny outro talking race?
Because he likes cartoons, Tusky, okay? He likes cartoons. Happy 1 year, by the way, Jesus.
Which is very ironic when you think about it. Velma says that she wasn't expecting such an enlightened answer. Well, I wouldn't expect you to. You attacked her. We get to another joke from the second trailer where a dead girl falls out of a locker, and she has no brain. Velma points this out, but she's not dissing her. She literally has no...
Is this entire thing is going to be him recapping the entire series? It actually is going to be that.
No brain.
And he's recapping the entire series while doing snark, dude. I cannot believe it.
Haha, what a knee slapper. And I'm pretty sure the inspiration
Yeah, North American Native Americans, by the way. If they casted them as indigenous people from Latin America, that'd be different.
for this joke came from one of the writers on this show. We see the title screen, and I won't lie, it's very beautifully animated. Velma is, of course, a
Jar needs to do a land acknowledgement as soon as possible.
suspect for the murder. I mean, she did come into the locker room with a fucking crowbar. I've played Half-Life, I know the damage those things can do. She's being interrogated by 2 interracial lesbian cops.
What? I understand why Jar made the fried chicken joke at the black lady he was on a date with, dude.
And the cops... tell Velma that she will be arrested for murder unless she can prove who did it within 24 hours. Yeah, I don't think I need to tell any of you that's not how murder investigations work.
Look, man, okay? It's a fucking cartoon. Is that really it?
And die. What do we do? Argue with you?
Alright, let me crash out real quick. Hey bro, Catwoman isn't black and Irish, she's Cuban. Cubans are not African Americans, or even Africans. People out here thinking Bruno Mars is a black man and
Axis,
shit.
you've touched upon the most troubling moment of my times as a Latino American, okay? Is that everybody can't tell what race we are because it's racially ambiguous, okay? Nothing like a Latino. It's also worse because some Latinos be like, I'm white, and then others be like, I'm black. And then the other ones that are like brown, like me, are like, I'm Latino. And then people say, Latino's not a race, pick a side. And I'm like, brother, there's more than 2 sides. Why are we so binary about race when we can be so non-binary about gender?
Oh yeah, and this is our...
I hate it. It's all the time. Don't Afro Latinos exist though? Yeah, but here's the thing. Like every time I have cousins that are blacker than me. Okay, we all Mexicans. Okay, I have cousins that are blacker than me, right? And generally, like when I talk to them and they say that they're Afro Latino, it's more like a thing they say flippantly at a Latin family function. And then they follow up on that by just saying that they're black. Like 9 times out of 10, they just say they're black.
First introduction to Velma's schizophrenic visions. We'll get to that more later on, but you won't believe how bad the payoff is. Anyways, Velma, the 15-year-old girl, is off to solve a murder case. She checks her phone and...
So he's doing that thing where he's like, this is so unrealistic. Why would she ever be going to solve a murder? I hate it when reviewers do this, right? Within the context of a show's reality, this is completely fine. Because we all understand the like narrative weight of a Mystery Incorporated character being sent to solve a mystery. They're Mystery Incorporated. They drive around in a green fucking van with a talking dog solving mysteries that are cartoonish, okay? But we're gonna nickel and dime the reality of the situation by saying, oh, a 15-year-old would never go to solve a murder. Brother, why were they sending fucking Mystery Incorporated to investigate the museum to figure out why there was a ghost inside the building? Anyway, here's what I can tell you. The first person they meet is the one that's the ghost.
Sees a bunch of missed messages from Norvell. And yes, I am aware that Norvell is Shaggy's real name. In this show, they basically make him a giant simp for Velma. I guess they're doing a role reversal because in the original Scooby-Doo shows, a lot of people simped for Shaggy. Velma is about to call...
Wait, what? Dude, I can't make it full screen. There we go.
Norvell so he can help her.
Hold on.
And sees a bunch of missed messages from the 15-year-old girl is off to solve a murder case. She checks her phone and sees a bunch of missed messages from Norvell. And yes, I am aware that Norvell is Shaggy's real name. In this show, they basically make him a giant simp for Velma. I guess they're doing a role reversal because in the original Scooby-Doo shows, a lot of people simped for Shaggy.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? That one I can... Yeah, that one's fine. All right. I don't even know if it's a role reversal rather than that was like Velma and Shaggy have been paired up many a times. I don't think it's like treading new ground. to make Shaggy pine for Velma. I think that's like a not that weird of a trope to pull, but it is certainly within the realm of possibility of the archetypes that happen with the Mystery Inc. characters.
Velma is about to call Norvell so he can help her, but she
Yeah,
bumps
meddling
into
kids, dude. Yeah.
the rich, evil, racist, bigoted Fred, and she...
Oh, it's been a while since I've seen the 2002 movie, but people have been making mocking versions of Fred for a really long time. I don't think that this is any particularly different than a lot of the former examples we've gotten.
I dub thee an honorary Spaniard so you can call yourself that instead.
Yeah, but like that's an even stranger one because like the American mind cannot handle the idea of like a European like a British person mocking a French person and disliking them on the basis of their Frenchness is just something that's so foreign as a concept to an American they would not be able to like clock that at all.
completely falls head over heels for him. God, I hate Andrew Tate so much, but he's so dreamy. Daphne and Fred start making out and Daphne sexually assaults Fred, like he's clearly not into it and she's trying to force herself onto him. I guess it's okay when women do it in shows. Velma goes
Guys, the woke mind virus says raping men is okay. I can't believe it.
back home to her family who, for some reason, speak in hashtags. Writers, I know you guys are old and out of touch, but Gen Zers don't actually...
I gotta go watch this show now. I feel like I would do a better job critiquing this if I watched the show. But also, I really don't want to watch 2 seasons of a cartoon I know I won't enjoy just so I could rip a fucking annoying idiot who can't give good criticisms to save his life a new one. I think I'd be pretty good at it, but I also, like, have things to do in my day-to-day life, you know?
talk like this. This is one of the biggest how do you do fellow kids I've seen in a very long time. Velma's lawyer dad of course knocked up a Latina racist. I meant to write waitress in the script, I swear. And she gets naked and the baby is fully visible in her stomach. Yeah, I'm pretty sure one of the writers for Big Mouth worked on this show. To any South Asian or Latina people in my audience, do you guys consider this to be good representation? At the wake of the girl who was...
Well, you know... I've met a few Latinas in my day that were racist and also a waitress.
murdered. Someone says, often in pop culture, we see a slutty girl get murdered and we think to ourselves, well, maybe she deserved it. Yep, this show couldn't go 5 minutes without making another fourth wall joke. My god, this really is a worse version of She-Hulk. Velma is hallucinating in an alleyway, saying, you're not real, you're not real. But then Fred comes out from behind a dumpster and says, I am real, a real man, father. Wow, what natural dialogue. It turns out that Fred is insecure about his masculinity, and he wants to be a manly man like his father, the same father who puts his cigars out on him. You see, toxic masculinity is taught, but we must unlearn it. Velma tells...
Okay, I think Jar severely misunderstands what that kind of character trope is, right? Like, none of... Here's the real crime with Velma, right? Is that a lot of it is just, like... Not to say that you need to subvert the audience's expectations all the time, but we are not necessarily treading new ground with a character that wants to inhabit the masculinity that they've perceived through a father that was abusive to them. I mean, Jesus Christ. Homelander. Very popular. Homelander, very popular.
Tells Fred that his story is cool and all, but her story is much more important. It turns out one night during Christmas, Velma's mom left to get some milk or cigarettes or something, and never came back. Her car was found with her glasses and a wrapped present. So Velma decides that she'll put on her mom's glasses and not open the present until she found her. You know, Velma, that present could be a possible clue. I'm also shocked that the cop...
Is he not picking up that? Yeah, no, he's not picking up that they're making fun of that. No, he was not. Like, that whole shit with Fred is like a very obvious 1-2 on it.
Cops didn't keep it for evidence. Norvell shows up and says that he got worried because Velma wasn't responding to his, VMs, which stand for voicemails. Yep, this is yet another how do you do, fellow kids.
Okay, I'll be honest, I've never heard anybody at all, actually. Nobody ever has ever called it a VM. I've never heard of anybody say voice message like VM. I've never heard that in my entire life.
a complete simp for Velma, and even though he doesn't look like Shaggy nor act like Shaggy, he's supposed to be Shaggy. Velma also treats him like complete garbage. She tells him that she doesn't want to do math homework with him. She just wants him to email her his answers like he's always done. I'll give the writers credit for one thing. They made a very accurate interpretation of a simp. Also, I thought Velma was the smart one, so why would she need help with her homework? Velma goes home, and for the first time in her life, she realizes that she's a terrible person. And that's probably why her mom left. But she's not going to try to grow as a person or feel guilty about it. She's just gonna move on with her life. You know, I know that Velma is supposed to be a self-insert for a Hollywood actress, but I didn't expect Mindy Kaling to be this honest about herself. Also, it's kind of weird that Velma comes to the realization that her mom probably left because she was terrible, and not because she was kidnapped or anything, and for some reason this makes Velma feel better about herself? Velma throws away the present that was in her
and this is, okay, so we are really actually just doing a recap of the entire series through the lens of Jar. I know that I was like joking when I said all reviewers do is snarkily repeat the entire plot of the series. But that is actually what is happening here, right? Like, if I hate Velma as like a conceptual idea, I will like nod my head agreeingly to Jar and then walk away from this feeling satisfied. If I don't agree with Jar, I will have not made it 11 minutes into this video, okay?
her mom's car, even though it could be a clue that could lead to her location, and then eats a fry out of the garbage. Yeah, this is...
I've seen a couple of interviews about this show. If I recall, the reason Norville doesn't act like Shaggy is to avoid the black stoner trope. Well, you know, you can't really have Shaggy in a Scooby-Doo related product without even, like, it's just gonna happen. It's one of the things that goes part and parcel, right? So it's just a gross misunderstanding of a character that really, like, there's no way to get around it on that.
The weirdest self-insert character I've ever seen in my life. Velma goes to school the next day after giving herself a makeover, which makes her actually look attractive. And Velma is sexy now.
That's kind of weird. I know you put the big quotes around it. It's kind of strange that you said that, Jar. See, I can also give bad critique too.
Because she is unburdened by the belief that she made her mother go missing? What? That's the complete opposite of what happened. Yep, the writers just...
I need to just watch this fucking show. Half of the stream is going to be me going, well, Diesel should have been like a little bit more dedicated to the craft, been a more dedicated hater, and watch a show that he doesn't like. Well, to be fair, I don't even know if I wouldn't like it. I just know that the humor is not my style. I have like a disdain for things that are like overly ironic. Like I get really frustrated at Rick and Morty because I feel like it's so negative and nihilistic all the time. And I do like a good goofy humor, but a lot of these shows just feel like very upset at everything, and I don't want to walk through life watching nothing but media that's like angry at the world.
Forgot what they just wrote. Honestly, I'm surprised it took this long. Everybody starts throwing stuff at Velma because she's a terrible person, and then somehow Fred throws something which cuts off this guy's leg. Velma goes into the bathroom to wash herself off, and we get to probably the most dragged out toilet joke I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, but like I'm such a hater too. I'm such a hater.
Daphne is trying to tell Velma something, and someone keeps interrupting her by flushing. With how much time is devoted to this joke, I bet the writers are super...
You know, this joke doesn't land here, but if it was a Family Guy gag, this would be the funniest shit ever, and we'd all be quoting it, like the knee thing.
Proud of it. I'm not exaggerating. This joke goes on for like 30 seconds. Velma jumps to the conclusion that Fred is the murderer because he's a rich white guy. Velma sneaks into Fred's mansion and starts having another hallucination. But Norville breaks her out of it by telling her that he loves her, and then she immediately friend-zones him. Fred comes in a robe, and apparently he hasn't gone through puberty yet, so his balls haven't dropped and he has a small pee-pee. He starts walking towards Velma like he's going to stab her, and then the two lesbian cops come in at the most convenient time and shoot him in the legs. Yep, everyone, it's another super convenient thing that happened for the plot to move forward. Honestly, I'm shocked that it didn't happen.
All right, this is another thing that I hate that reviewers on YouTube do, where something happens within the realm of the show and the show's reality, and then they judge it as if it was like a preposterous thing because a show, like a show, like okay. So here's the thing, right? I'll use the context of me DMing, right? So when I DM, I will like do. I guess it's kind of like the Brennan Lee Mulligan of like, and then a thing happens, right? Where it's like, you're doing something, a new character enters the scene. You're doing something, an event happens that changes the situation. You're doing something, somebody says something that shakes up the entire situation that was there, right? So it's like, if you know that Fred is going to stab Velma, right? Hypothetically, in this scenario of this scene, right? If you know that Fred is going to stab Velma, and you know that you need to have a show so Velma can't be stabbed, then you need something to happen in order to move the plot along in a way that calls back to the earlier moments. Whether or not it was like whether or not it was like realistic or not doesn't matter. What it matters is if it was set up or not, right? So were the cops set up that they would react to it 24 hours later? If yes, then them busting into the room would make sense from the logic of the show because they were set up and said that they would return later, right? Now, I haven't watched the show, so I don't know if something like that was set up, right? But the way Jar presents it is if they came out of nowhere, but we do know that the characters exist. So a setup is probably possible because even if you're a dog shit writer, you would know to do that.
Happened sooner in this episode. And by the way, Fred wasn't gonna stab her, he was just gonna pay her off. Like, the cops have no
Improv pilled. I mean, yeah, man. Yeah, it's how you make something interesting.
reason to suspect him, but they still arrest him after shooting him. The episode ends with Velma going home, and she finds another murder victim in her trash can. Well, if the police already suspected
Chekhov's lesbian interracial cop duo.
Velma to be the murderer before, now they have even more reason to. So that was episode 1, and I gotta be honest, so far, this is not the worst show
I feel like my position on this is clouded because Jar hates it so much, and I also know that culturally I'm supposed to hate it, and I'm not expecting to like it, but I don't know how I could watch this show and then rightfully give criticisms of Jar without being like completely poison pilled by the discourse of the internet.
I've ever reviewed. Oh, don't get me wrong, it's bad, but I've reviewed much worse shows than this. So let's move on to episode 2. Episode 2 of Velma starts off right where episode 1 ended, with Fred being dragged away by the cops. Yep, he was shot in both legs and now he's gonna be tried for murder because a brown girl said he did it. Well, if that's not white privilege, then I don't know what it is. Oh.
You know, Jar, you're a... Can I call a person the C word? Am I allowed to talk about crackers in this economy?
Oh, and if you didn't remember that Fred had a tiny dong from the last episode, don't worry, cause they do another joke about it right at the start of the episode. Now keep in mind, Velma, Mindy Kelly's self-insert is a
the whole thing with Fred in the show, from what I'm aware of, is that he has like masculinity issues from the abuse from his father, right? And that like that's the setup on his character, and a lot of it is him coming to terms with that, right? Like that's his arc. Like he's set up as being like uncomfortable with the masculinity that he has, and so he tries to make it something that it's not, and it's about him getting to grips with that, correct?
Attracted to Fred, a racist, bigoted, rich white guy
Jar's sense of racial grievance is really escalating, huh? This is an old video, dude. It was always there.
with a tiny penis.
Ooh, that's kind of...
I think they're just abusing Fred because it's funny, Jar. It's not that deep.
small. Yikes.
I don't know, maybe Mindy Kelly is trying to tell us something. Also, it does amaze me how much the writers are talking about a 15-year-old stick size.
Let's not even mince words here. Like, these fucking adult animated shows constantly do stuff like this with minor characters, right? Like, you're making a moral grievance over things like unironically, I have not seen anybody muster up a shit to give at Seth MacFarlane for sexualizing Meg ever. I have never seen that happen.
Velma's lawyer dad is going to be defending Fred in court. He explains to his daughter that there's a chance that he could be innocent, but she tells her dad that she knows he did it because he's a white guy. Yeah, whenever a crime is committed, people always assume that a rich white guy did it.
Jar, that's an interesting white guy to use. I don't know. He is our first felon president. Not another president with a rap sheet quite like his.
That's White Privilege 101. By the way, She-Hulk was the worst show I ever reviewed that had a lawyer in it, but something tells me that the writers for Velma will have even less understanding of how the law works. By the way, it's later revealed that Fred didn't do it, so
I watched too much anime to actually criticize it in good faith. Yeah.
Velma was just
South Park is literally a bunch of middle schoolers. Yeah, but there's brown people in this cosmic. How could these brown people make such a joke?
racist for no reason. Velma decides to go find her missing mother, even though
Yeah, what the fuck is Jar insinuating?
was established in the previous episode.
Let me turn off my heat. I'm sweating my massive hog off, dude.
So that her mother left them, she's not missing, but modern Hollywood writers tend to forget what they just wrote, so I'm not surprised. Velma goes back to school
Jar,
with
you forget what you just said, dude. You forget everything all the time.
Norville, and we get to the cringy joke from the trailer about how 420 stands.
Am I the only one who rolls my eyes whenever these reviewers try to make a moral outrage to make sure that you know that they're upstanding citizens? That's because they have no critiques to actually give. They are actually hilarious. Okay, look, I'm not Mr. Media Literacy, okay? Because that's an annoying guy on YouTube. I just made that guy up, but you know his reviews are just like the worst. You know that he is just the most annoying piece of shit ever. I fucking hate Mr. Media Literacy. Did you guys see what Mr. Media Literacy said about Ahsoka on Disney Plus? Fuck that guy. God. I think I might have invented the best guy ever. Mr. Media Literacy totally is like a character. No, but yeah, seriously, not to be Mr. Media Literacy, but these guys make the moral outrage arguments because they actually lack media literacy. They don't know how to critique media. They don't understand anything about the media they watch, and they actually don't watch a lot of it outside of things to get annoyed, and they spend constant thousands of hours on Twitter. Thousands, okay? They are just trying to prove how good they are in an argument so that way they can get kudos points from their audience that are also scrolling on their phones, okay? Like, yeah, it's just moral outrage farming, okay? Like, literally, it's just rage bait. I understand it's kind of a reductive criticism, but like, that is what that is, right? Because there's really no point for it. These are just guys that just like want to get a gotcha, right? And that their actual like ideas about media go no further than that.
For adults who still watch cartoons. Velma walks up to Daphne and we get a knee slapper of a joke. Daphne says to Velma that she knows she thinks that she ditched her to be cool. Velma says that's not true, but then we see graffiti saying the opposite. Yeah, the whole joke of a character saying, I'm not going to do something, and then they do it or already did it, may have been funny the first 500 times, but now it's really...
Why is Fairly Odd Parents in the background, dude?
Overplayed its welcome. Velma then says to Daphne, I give my sincerest condolences for the loss of your more popular friends that you picked.
Isn't Mr. Media Literacy the guy with terrible opinions about all the rape in Berserk? Is Mr. Media Literacy a real person? Is this a real guy? You guys are like, this is a Mandela effect thing. Who is this guy is not real. I just made this person up. This guy, not only is this guy not real, he's a loser. So this guy isn't real.
Over me. Velma, they were murdered. What's wrong with you? Like most supervillains wouldn't even say something like that. Haha, your friends died. Serves you right for picking them over me. This is only episode 2 and Velma is already one of the most unlikable main characters I have ever seen. And the fact that she's a self-insert from Mindy Kelly...
Dude, why the fuck do you give a shit if this... I understand this character's a self-insert, but... You need to be... Okay, so if the character is a self-insert, then we can critique the character as the character. Our critiques of the character should start and stop at Mindy Kaling. Mindy Kaling, not Mindy Kelly. All right. Mindy Kaling having a character that's a self-insert is a fine criticism to make. But then you need to expound upon what makes Velma a bad character within the context of the show. Okay? You can't just stop the criticism at she is a self-insert and a bitch. We need further. And by the way, explaining that she does mean things is not explaining that she's a bitch. Okay, you need to extrapolate upon these things and try and see what the show is trying to tell you outside of that. Okay, what is the show trying to say with what it does?
That's concerning. So right after Velma said something really horrible to Daphne, she tries to manipulate her by using their past friendship. Oh, your friends died, but since we used to be friends, can you do something for me? Velma wants Daphne to get her court case files from the 2 lesbian police officers, who turn out to be Daphne's adopted mothers. Okay, first of all, this is a super convenient thing that happened for the plot to move forward. The chances that Velma used to be friends with someone who is the daughter of the 2 police officers working on Fred's case are pretty small. But the bigger problem is police officers don't bring court documents home with them. They keep them at a courthouse or a police station.
Okay. I know that I don't got any cops in the chat, but like, how do you know that?
So yeah, they haven't even gotten to court yet, and already the writers of She-Hulk have proven that they know more about the law than the writers of Velma.
I feel like we just like, we're just like an Ouroboros of moral outrage, dude. What is this? I know that this is an old review, but unironically, who gives a flying... Who gave a shit about She-Hulk when it came out? Who unironically cared about She-Hulk when it dropped, right? Because I feel like the fatigue for Marvel content had already occurred by the time She-Hulk was released. And regardless of whether or not She-Hulk was good or bad, nobody was going to watch it. I heard great things about Moon Knight. I don't think I've met a person who remembers Moon Knight. Like, nobody says Moon Knight was my favorite show. If I polled 100 people on what's your favorite TV show of the last 10 years, I think like 9 of the 10 people would be like, fucking Better Call Saul. All right?
Something super convenient happened for the plot to move forward, and it doesn't even make sense. Daphne agrees to give Velma...
Oh, that's another thing I hate that YouTube reviewers do, where they're like, that is a plot hole, right? Where, like, they count everything as a plot hole. I understand if something's, like, outrageous, but again, if it's in the context of the show's universe, it's, like, fine. It needs to happen with, like, some reasonability of this.
The files on one condition. She has to pay her $500.
I remember Moon Knight. It was pretty good. Somebody just invented that. You just invented that opinion. You didn't have that. All right.
Wow, I am happy that Velma isn't immediately getting what she wanted after she was a terrible person. We cut to Fred and his family, and Fred says, the only reason why people think I killed those girls is because I basically confessed to it. What? No, Fred didn't do that. He was offering to pay off Velma. This was at the end of the last episode. How do the writers not remember this? Also, even if he did confess to this crime, with how he did it, it would have been considered entrapment. And also, the cops were in his home without a warrant. Earlier in the episode, Velma's lawyer dad said that he's going to use Fred's tiny dick to win this case. I'm not a lawyer, and I know that searching someone's home without a warrant and using entrapment to gain a confession would be much better things to use in court than your client's tiny penis or dressing him up.
It is a cartoon, dude. I know that this is like, I know this is reductive, and I'm doing the smug Twitter reply guy thing by saying it's a cartoon, dude, right? But quite literally, you are a YouTuber. Jar, while I'm at it, how come your girlfriend, or I don't really know what the status on your guys' relationship is. Somebody told me that you're like gonna get like hitched. Very horrifying thing. I don't necessarily believe that you're getting hitched because I don't believe anything I hear about you. But then also on the same breath, how does your girlfriend not only know who I am, has heard about who I am, and seems to keep tabs on who I am, but you can't fucking remember me? It's almost like you're afraid of men, bitch. All right? I'm sorry, but you fucking cuck loser. I would fuck you in the ass jar and you would not even see it. I am joking. I'm joking. Don't hit me with the strike, YouTube, please.
Up as a innocent little boy. You know, I said it before, but I'm confident about it now. The writers of Velma know less about the law than the writers.
Diesel, consider Jar might procreate. Dude, I think he might get his autism ethno state at that point, you know?
Of She-Hulk. And of course,
there may be little jars in the future. See, saying it like that is just even worse.
Fred is such a useless white male that he doesn't even...
Chat, I'm not bi, I'm queer baiting. I know what you guys want, okay? and I'm doing it aggressively, so it's okay.
Know how to cut his own food. I gotta be honest, this might be the most pathetic straw man of people the writers don't like. Like, even back when people were super racist in America, they didn't do things like, black people are so incompetent that they don't even know how to cut meat. Don't get me wrong, they
Actually, they did do that. I don't know what universe you were living in, but not only did they do that, they thought way worse things than that.
did say a lot of...
They killed people, actually. They displaced millions of people in America, too, while we're at it. You know, they engaged in one of the largest slave trades in human history. Actually, probably the largest. I don't know if it's the largest. I'm not going to stand 10 toes down on that.
Racist shit, but I don't think they went as far as to do something like that. Also, calm down, Twitter. I'm not trying to say that modern day white men are treated even worse than black people 150 years ago.
You did. You might as well just say it, you know?
Also, for the love of God, please don't take that quote out of context.
I would take anything. Jar could make like the best clip chimped hit piece video on me possible, dude. Holy shit.
Trying to say that this is such an extreme...
Damn, Jar's girlfriend seems really into Diesel. You have the opportunity to do the funniest thing ever, boss. ITD make you a terrible person maybe, but it would make amazing content.
Listen. I know Jar has like a real big problem with fat people because he has a lot of hangups from his personal childhood. But I really don't ever want to sleep with somebody that looks like a fucking progeria woman, okay? I think I'm good.
straw man. And believe it or not, Fred not being able to feed himself...
Jar can keep that all to himself, okay? I prefer a woman with a little bit more meat on her bones, okay?
...is actually a plot point. No.
Is she a little guy? She ain't gonna be after that one, that's for sure.
I'm not joking. But I will say one good
It's because the reason that I know she'll see those things is because, like, they're both terminally online and, like, needlessly, like, plugged into it, okay?
About this show. Fred's dad being voiced by the OG voice actor for Fred is fantastic casting. We cut back to Velma, who's trying to steal from Norvell's family to get the $500. Mindy Kelly just wants her self-insert to be the most unlikable main character ever. Oh yeah, and there's a subplot about the two lesbian cops going undercover in a school to catch a drug dealer. And they do things like wearing their hat backwards and dabbing. I get that the writers are trying to tell us that these are old, out-of-touch people, but the writers are still even more out of touch than this. Remember in episode 1 when people were talking in hashtags? Imagine being even dumber.
I feel like the context of that original joke was something else, and he's like extrapolating it into something else, right? Like the hashtag thing, I feel like there's a piece of that joke that's missing, right?
Than your straw man. Velma goes into Norvell's room. He's in the middle of streaming.
Chat, like, you don't even have to even like put together, you know, like what, this is crazy, chat, you know, like it's crazy, you know, like.
He starts sipping for her, and because he's a simp, a lot of people leave his chat and unsubscribe. I gotta be honest, this is a pretty realistic portrayal of how streaming works.
That is not, but Jar wouldn't know because all he does is get owned by streamers who sit there in a chair and rake in donation views, huh?
Norvell says the worst line in the episode. In teen movies, a guy will sell something to get money to blackmail a girl into dating him for it. He says it's problematic, but effective and hilarious? I and many people have asked this question. Has that happened in, like, any movie? Like, if anyone can send me a clip from a teen movie where a guy blackmails a girl into dating him, that would be greatly appreciated. But as far as I'm aware, this is a completely made-up problem. This is one of the biggest problems with the Velma show. It's trying to talk about social issues that don't exist. Maybe in an alternate dimension, this is a really good show, but not in this dimension. Like, I'm half expecting this.
Norville is literally Diesel in chat. Yeah, but the thing is, you guys wouldn't unsubscribe if I simped uncontrollably. I might lose a little aura, but, like, I'm not gonna necessarily be chopped, you know what I mean?
Show to say, don't you hate it how in superhero movies the villain is always from South America? But again, I haven't seen every movie ever, so maybe I'm wrong. So because Velma can't get the $500, Daphne, for some reason, tries to hire her. Why would you try to hire Velma? She's completely incompetent at everything. Oh wait, she's a self-insert from Mindy Kelly, and she's incompetent.
Dude, holy shit, how many... Dude, I should do a drinking game, man. Every time he mentions Mindy Kaling, he's gonna, like, I need to take a drink, man. Holy shit.
at everything, but people keep hiring her. It turns out that Daphne is actually the drug dealer that her adopted mothers are looking for. Velma says, "You're the candy man?" And Daphne tells her that she's the candy woman. Now this is one of the most annoying things that progressives have done with the English language.
That progressives have done. Guys, he's like, listen, every time a motherfucker's like, I'm a centrist, okay? Listen, I know this real centrist, but this motherfucker is lying when he says he's a centrist.
It's not policeman, it's police person. It's not fireman.
This guy has not seen enough media to make judgments over what are and aren't popular tropes in TV shows that they're trying to reference.
It's firefighter.
Why did Vincent Martin defend this guy? Because he is pretending to be a centrist just like Jar and sees a lot of his autistic self in his eyes.
It's not mailman, it's male person. By the way, one time I dated a male lady and I found out later that she really was a male lady. But in all seriousness, the word man...
Is that true, Jar, or was that a joke? I'm going to take that in the most uncharitable light possible. Jar slept with a lady boy. I can't believe Jar slept with a lady boy.
Can be short for human. I mean, after all, you can't spell woman without man. Daphne also says that according to
don't even get the liberals started on that one.
TV, it's morally okay to sell drugs if your life is kind of bad. Breaking Bad is the most popular show about a drug dealer, and throughout
Jar is a chaser confirmed.
the show, they made it clear that what he was doing was morally bad. Like, even if these jokes worked, they would only be as funny as, hey,
I feel like the moral complexity associated with Walter White is a bit more nuanced than Walter White bad.
look, reference. But they can't even do that right. They're making reference.
It's actually postal worker, not mail person. As a former postal worker sounds more professional than mail person. Saying like mailman or mail person or mail lady just sounds like you don't know what it, like a postal worker sounds like a job. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of people that work in the post industry, the shipping and mail industry.
To things that don't exist. This show feels like it was written by primitive AI from an alien planet.
I don't care if it was actually a guy. The pizza girl picture were fucking hot. Fuck you, Jar.
Velma
I added an extra fucking there.
Says that those are all white people, Daphne. Minorities on TV can only sell drugs to escape poverty.
Yeah, milkman, milk lady. Dude, you don't want to know the difference between what a milkman does and a milk lady. Actually, with the... Actually, modern context makes me feel like a milkman is just as dirty as a milk lady.
First of all,
the industry is also called the Postal Service. Oh my god, how did I forget?
Again, Walter White was white. His actions were never painted as morally good. Second, to minorities in
I feel like Walter... I don't really want to just say that what Walter White did was good, but like the reason he got into it was like morally justifiable, right? Like I get why the chemistry teacher with cancer started cooking meth. There's reasonable reasons why he started.
TV shows don't just sell drugs to escape poverty. Often they're like a drug lord or something, like Gus.
Yeah, those things are it doesn't matter. Okay, listen, the trope about Latinos always playing drug dealers is not about them playing drug dealers to escape poverty. That is a trope, correct. But the trope is that Latinos always get cast as drug dealers or Native Americans. That happens all the fucking time. All the fucking time.
Yeah, characters in TV shows, not just minorities, but white people as well, often do sell drugs to escape poverty, but that's not always the only reason why they do it.
It's like, yeah, Gus Fring isn't one of those characters, but he is a part of the stereotype and trope of a Latino drug lord. I mean, Jesus Christ. Some of the most popular, like, media characters in fiction are Latino drug lords. The fictionalized version of Pablo Escobar has been portrayed dozens of times, all right? It is a trope in very good founding, okay? It has nothing to do with Pablo Escobar wanting to escape poverty.
This show has to have been made in an alternate dimension, I swear. By the way, Velma is such a massively racist character.
Like, it's just not... He doesn't even understand what the trope is, because the trope goes much further than what he's, explaining.
Like, by the actual definition, she's racist. Daphne says that Velma knows everything about everyone. No, she doesn't. She's an idiot that jumps to conclusions and needs her friend to give her the answers for her math homework. Velma literally hasn't done a single smart thing throughout this entire show. Oh yeah, there's also another side plot of Norvell trying to sell his sword to raise the $500 to get Velma to date him. There's some very subtle foreshadowing of a guy whose bounty is at exactly $500.
guys, this is really cringe because they're saying it's very subtle foreshadowing. Okay, so a joke like that is that the foreshadowing isn't subtle at all. Okay, you're not making a good critique by pointing out the obvious thing being obvious that's setting up something later. It's a comedy show. It's doing that knowingly.
And I think at one point he contemplates selling his kidney for the money. Yeah, I think this guy might be the biggest simp in media. Velma is going around selling drugs. Some white girl calls her a dork, and Velma retorts by calling her a white girl with too much money. Woof, what a good insult, telling people that they have too much money. Daphne tells Velma that she knows she's a genius. She's not a genius, she's a complete idiot. She literally eats out of the trash. Also later, Daphne fires Velma because she's too stupid to sell dope. Fred shows
The annoying part of this is that it's like he's critiquing characters doing comedic bits in the show as if it was a serious bit. This is like if I watched an episode of Family Guy and every time Peter did something stupid, I did like a thing where I'm like, a grown man would never do something like that. Or it's like, a baby would never build a death ray. You know what I mean?
up dressed as, a Shota. The reporter says that
Shota. Whoa! Pause. Why did you put Gon from Hunter x Hunter there?
Reyes celebrates 2 months of membership. Biggest simp in media, as is Gomez Adams doesn't exist. Jar is brain dead.
Well, Gomez is a humongous simp, okay? I like how Jar's perception of what Shota is like one of those like sailor boy outfits and like a sailor boy outfit and big lollipop. It's like, oh, I've invented the perfect child ripe for the plucking from the fucking windowless pedophile van.
he's too stupid to sell dope. Fred shows up dressed as, a Shota. The reporter
I can't believe he said that. Oh.
Says that she speaks for the entire journalistic community when she says, I feel like an asshole. Okay, you know what, Mindy Kelly, that was—
Is that what he thought? That is so fucking funny. God. Not saying what my people didn't go through in this, not Jar saying what my people didn't go through in this country. Like, I can't go ask my grandma who lived through Jim Crow and through the time of MLK and Malcolm X. Does Jar think my ancestors were having a gay old time picking cotton and shit? Bro, what the fuck? Jar is an idiot, guys, you know?
actually a good joke. But then it starts raining, and this causes Fred to look like Hitler. Of course, someone points this out and says,
wait, is this show pre or post Elon Musk doing the Hitler salute? Because, like, the fact that this show kind of predicted that when you think about it, right? Because that is something that Elon Musk definitely did.
He looks like Hitler, but then he actually says something kind of funny by saying, and not just because we compare everyone to Hitler these days. Okay, I will say one good thing about this show that it has over She-Hulk. The jokes are a lot
I will say one thing about this show. Sometimes they're based.
better.
Creed, that's crazy, dude.
That's not a high bar to jump over, but they jumped over it. We cut back to Daphne and Velma, and Daphne wonders as to why her hair is the color of buffalo wings.
Yeah, that was a Simpsons level prediction.
Maybe they'll actually answer why her hair is that color in this show. But let's not get our hopes up. Daphne and Velma
does anybody ever, like, if you had if I had, like, an Asian character that had, like, blonde hair, I literally wouldn't question it at all. Because, like, cartoons have conditioned me to, like, not... Like, that's just, like, not something that ever comes up, right? Like, does anybody ever have a problem with Naruto being blonde? Nobody's ever mentioned that Naruto's blonde, but he's Asian.
A tender moment. But then the cops show up and start chasing them. The chase ends with the cops. Oh my god!
I want Jar to review 12 Years a Slave. God, that would be so fucking funny. Jar reviews 2 To Kill a Mockingbird win. Do we really need the discourse to be relitigated on To Kill a Mockingbird?
Running over a baby? Okay, it does survive, but man, that would have been such a dark turn. A little later on, Velma tries to sell—
You know what? If it was my show, I would have ran over that baby. And it would be gone.
drugs to this one guy, but it's actually her dad. And then he offers his daughter the $500 for the file if she can help him prove Fred's innocence. I don't know why any lawyer would ask their idiot daughter for help proving someone's innocence. Maybe he just really wants to lose the case. Velma looks through the case file and determines that, yep,
Char should review Django Unchained.
Fred is guilty, but then she notices that Fred is such a man baby that he can't cut his own food, and then she finally realizes that he couldn't have been the one to do it. In court, instead of, Velma swearing on the Holy Bible, she swears on a copy of Grey's Anatomy. Well, actually it's Gers Anna, because, well, the animators didn't finish animating the rest of the words. Look, she took her hand off of it, you can clearly see it.
Boy, I really hope somebody got fired for that blunder.
She then
Oh, okay. Isn't that joke in The Simpsons about like that guy being an annoying shit, by the way? Boy, I hope somebody got fired for that blunder. Like the visual language of that Simpsons cartoon character definitely conveys that to me, though I do not know the context of that original clip. That is me going out on a limb there.
and proves Fred's innocence by showing the court that he's a big man baby with a tiny dong who doesn't even know how to cut a steak. They put a steak in front of him and Fred is so retarded that he holds the knife and fork upside down and also tries to cut it with a plate. Okay, calling him retarded is a little mean because even people with literal Down syndrome would be smarter than this. Like, this would not fly in court. No judge would fall for this because no one would
He's applying real world logic to this again. I can't. Listen, man. This is not the real world. It's not a gritty crime procedural. If this happened in True Detective, I'd be like, this is weird. But this is Velma.
Actually be this stupid. Does anybody find this funny? I mean, Velma isn't age appropriate for 5-year-olds, and I think only 5-year-olds would laugh at a joke like this. The punchline is just, look at how incompetent white men are, but it's too cartoonishly over the top to be a
Is it really white men or just Fred?
offensive. Velma's dad says to the jury, how can someone who can't even cut a steak remove the brains of 2 girls? I don't know, maybe he's faking it. No one could be this stupid, or even stupid enough to fall for something like this. Yep, the characters in Velma are more stupid than the characters in Kenobi and Ahsoka combined.
Oh my god, dude. Oh my god. When I made the joke about Mr. Media Literacy complaining about Ahsoka, I did not expect that. These guys all watch the same shows, all complain about the same thing, and all say the same thing. All right. What's the current woke show? Okay. What's the current woke show? What's like the show that's like really popular but it's like kind of woke, and so people got a fucking problem with it? What's something that just came out? Hold on. Let me look on IMDb. I need to see what's out right now to see the discourse. Hold on. Let me pull it up. Let's see. Is there anything woke out right now? Is there anything woke out right now? All right, I'm on IMDb right now. Gen V woke. I could see somebody having a problem with that because there's brown people in it. Yeah. I think, especially when the next season of The Boys comes out, they're gonna talk about the politics of it, and everybody's gonna give a really snarky review of that. Mark my words, there will be a snarky review of the next season of The Boys. Let's see. All right, nothing else here. Anything Stranger Things nobody cares about anymore. It's like not culturally relevant. No. Oh, I know people were doing the woke thing with the Vampire the Masquerade game, the new one that just came out. I think the new one is probably not what I want from the Vampire the Masquerade game, but that's one that's happened currently. Unless those things do well, if a thing does well and a lot, unless a show or game does well, then they'll change up their tune and they'll say it was actually really successful and based. Let's see, Apple TV, nobody watches that. Disney Plus, okay, here we go. Yeah, there's no woke shows right now. You're right. There's no woke shows. There's like 0 woke shows. That's crazy. I was like talking to my mom and she was watching 911 and it was doing the arc in 911 about the comet hitting the city. VTM was always woke since the 1980s. Tourists fuck off. See, but their only perception of it was like the game from the early 2000s that came out the same week as Half-Life 2. And that is a really good VTM game. But like VTM's older rulebook was like a little dorky and cringe. And the new one's still pretty dorky and cringe, but it's less like punk rock grunge and more like sophisticated dark academia cringe. You know what I mean? Thunderbolts because the one main character was a woman. That's true. That did happen. What's on HBO Max? Peacemaker got the woke treatment. That happened. I think Dunk and Egg, the new show from the Game of Thrones universe, I think Dunk and Egg is going to get the woke argument thing for a little bit. Yeah, there's not a lot of woke shows right now. There's not a lot of woke shows. House of the Dragon got a lot of woke. It got a lot of woke because they recasted that one family as being black, even though it really hasn't mattered all that much. And they kind of write it off in a really articulate way. It'll always be dorky and cringe, but I miss the punk. Yeah, it still got some of that. I haven't finished reading the rule book. It's kind of big. The anti-wokies are complaining about Paranormal Park. I literally don't even know what that show is. Superman got the woke stamp. That's true. Euphoria, when the next season of Euphoria comes out, is going to get the woke stamp. Yeah, there's nothing really much right now.
Mind, but because Fred is full of so much toxic.
By the way, all the culture war stuff is a distraction. Don't get distracted. They haven't released the Epstein files. Every time somebody wants to distract you using the culture war, just realize that the absolute 1% of the 1% are all like fucking pedophiles that are secretly controlling the world and using techno-feudalism to filter away any possibility of you climbing up the ladder into getting a sustainable and secure future for your children, and that they're all pedophiles that seem to have known Jeffrey Epstein. You guys should remind yourselves to ask them where the Epstein files are. You know, I think that's really important.
Masculinity, he tries to reclaim his masculinity by saying he really did kill those two girls. The episode ends with Velma going home, she starts suffering another panic attack, and Daphne gets her out of it by kissing her without her consent. Now apparently it was a really big deal that Velma was lesbian in this show, even though she's been a lesbian before, but I guess Daphne...
Well, as you guys know, every time a character is gay is the first time they've ever been gay ever, and the first gay person to ever exist. It's what we in the business call marketing, okay?
Daphne hasn't, so I guess that's something new. And that's the end of episode 2. Oh,
you know what? While on the topic of bad media literacy and PDFs, I want you to react to Mr. Girl's content. Actually, I would prefer to set my balls on fire.
Okay, I didn't think episode 1...
We did it, Reddit. We freed the Epstein
was that
files.
bad, but my god, I see why people say this is the worst show ever now. Episode 1 was bad, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't the worst.
It's going to be crazy when all of you are going to serve your term in Venezuela as we go down to LATAM, so that way we could do our next Vietnam in the fucking 2020s.
Episode of any show I've ever seen.
And how large corporations want to prey on loneliness with transhumanist idealized collectible partners in a gacha game, so it'll work for big corps more for their fake ass waifu. Oh my god, that's so true.
But episode 2 of Velma is the worst episode I've seen of any show ever. But there's 8 episodes left, so something tells me I haven't seen the worst episode of Velma yet. Anyways, episode 3 of Velma begins right where episode 2 ended, with Velma and Daphne making out. Daphne decides to go home and Velma says, "What the hell just happened?" Which is exactly what I say after watching any episode.
Guys, we need to give Sam Altman more money so that way he could fucking destroy the power grid with OpenAI. Don't you understand? Techno-feudalism is good, actually.
Of Velma. Velma is so shocked from the kiss that it puts her in a daze.
Nah, bro, I'm draft dodging. What? I hear Venezuela is beautiful this time of year. Don't worry, they softened them up. They've maybe or maybe not blew up 40 drug boats over the last few days, or they killed 40 people. It was like 10 drug boats.
Sleep, and
assumedly it was drug boats. I am skeptical that it was drug votes.
Getting ready for school, she pours coffee and cereal and puts her hand in the toaster. Now, this is a very common joke that is relatable to, well, everyone. Sometimes you're just so shocked or tired that you get things mixed up. I remember I was so tired one time that I put the dishes in the bathtub and the baby in the sink. Needless to say,
yeah, okay, guys. I mean, if we really want to address the elephant of Velma's sexuality in the room, when are we going to talk about the fact that Fred is clearly gay? Okay? He has an ascot. It's an ascot.
got fired from babysitting for that family.
When
But
are we
this
getting
joke
tech
only works if,
barbarians? Well,
know,
you see,
things are mixed
it
up.
turns out that all of us actually willingly gave up all of our privacy and security to the corporation, so there's no taking it back.
Like if she was buttering her cereal and pouring milk onto her toast. You flip them around and she's pouring milk into her cereal and buttering her toast. If you flip around what she's doing, she would be pouring coffee into her toaster and putting her hand in a bowl of cereal. Oh, and for some reason the toaster shocks her. Velma narrates to the audience that the only thing people want to know about her
Guys, this toaster is shocking her. How could that have possibly happened? Motherfucker, it's a toaster, okay?
character, is she gay or not?
I'm currently working waifuless. I won't lie, something about the holiday season has definitely put me in a cuffing season kind of mood. So I understand your feeling, Axis.
It really just depends on the continuity. She's been into Johnny Bravo and Shaggy, and she's also been a lesbian before. Yeah, I know this show is trying to act like it's the first one to ever make Velma bisexual, but it's been done before. Oh yeah, and apparently while Velma was in her days, she accidentally fed the cat prenatal vitamins. I bring this up only so I can make a bad joke. That's one hairy pussy. Yeah, I made that joke up on the
Yeah, you should.
spot, and it's already funnier than, well, whatever this is supposed to be. Velma goes to school and meets up with Norvell. She tells him what happened, and he tells Velma that her possibly being gay is a huge deal, even though we see two guys constantly making out in the background. But now that Velma got the court case filed from the last episode,
Yeah, that's the joke, motherfucker. It's that nobody cares anymore. Alright, the two guys kissing in the background and nobody reacting to it. The joke is that nobody cares anymore. That's the joke.
He now knows the
It's like you explained all of the parts of it, and you understand that there was a joke there, but then you chose to ignore it.
last place her mom's phone pinged was at Fred's house.
We need to bring back review channels dedicated to reviewing the reviewers. It's an Ouroboros, okay? It's an Ouroboros. There's no way that listen, man. It's all just one Reddit post, you know, just recycling itself over and over again into God's taint of green text, okay?
Velma, are you going to falsely accuse him of murder again? We get to the one joke from the trailer that actually made me laugh, where Velma says, "You can't speculate about someone's sexuality unless they're famous or Peppermint Patty." Not gonna lie, even now this joke genuinely makes me laugh. We learned that Norvell's dad is a therapist, and yeah, considering his son is friends with Velma, he needs all the therapy he can get. Velma says that Shaggy's dad is just a school therapist, the lowest form of therapist there is. He's even worse than her therapy app, which is obviously Russian spyware. Oh yeah, this came out before the war with Ukraine. Remember how a whole bunch of people on the left kept on going on and on about how Trump only won because of Russian hackers, and how the right was going...
Oh my god. Oh my god. What are you on about? Didn't we have an entire round of political discourse about this, and it was found that there wasn't any Russian interference in the election? All right. Which, by the way, the election right after that one, Trump said was stolen by the woke left having dead people vote in it. And then he had his supporters raid Congress. Okay. There was this whole big fucking hullabaloo about this too. Multiple presidential administrations have said that there wasn't. I mean, Jesus Christ, we just caught... So I will say this, it might be slow for us to count votes here in the States, but usually, generally, people who commit voter fraud get caught. Okay? It usually happens.
On and on about how
What people are talking about, if they're not like fucking stupid, by the way, is like the social media being used as a tool of psychological warfare in order to get favorable outcomes in politics, which every country does, by the way. We just know for a fact that Russia does it because of the stuff with like what's that company? Fuck, all those like right-wing influencers who are getting bread. They were getting like dark money from a Russian like shell company to report on Russian propaganda. So that's the only reason we know that Russia does it.
Hillary wanted a no-fly zone over Syria, which could start a war with Russia.
Also, that has this is all aged really funny, by the way. This is all this is all aged comedically, okay? Literally comedically. No, it was a Russian company was paying off guys like Tim Pool like upwards of $500,000 to cover Russian propaganda. I can't remember the name of the shell corporation that was doing that. So, but yeah, I mean, ultimately it was the Russian government. The FSB was basically funding propaganda to poison pill people's support of Ukraine during the Ukraine war. Yeah, the people who are funding Tim Pool's beanies.
Yeah, both sides were way too scared of Russia back then. Now we know they can't even take over a small nation. Velma, along with the rest of the girls in the school, have to take a women's self-defense class so they don't get murdered. Velma says, why don't boys take a don't murder women class? Norvel's mom says back to Velma, because I only have $50 in the budget to combat centuries of toxic masculinity. Okay, so the term toxic masculinity is a lot like the term wokeness. It's very hard to define and everyone seems to have their own—
Oh my god, I'm gonna have a fucking aneurysm. Oh,
definition for it. So just like with the term—
yeah, literally nobody was surprised. Yeah, that did happen. That is true. But the whole like election was stolen by the Russian government thing so far has not come out to be true. And there just hasn't been anything to suggest that it was.
wokeness.
Did he call Ukraine a small nation? He's American, okay? He doesn't understand what size is.
If you're gonna argue against toxic masculinity, you need to figure out what the person you're arguing with defines it as. This show seems to define it as men thinking it's okay to murder women because that's what they've been taught for hundreds of years. Well, that's just stupid. Murder has been illegal for hundreds of years in just about every single country. If
This guy is fucking killing me, goddamn.
anything, there's a surprising amount of women who are into serial killers, so wouldn't this be toxic femininity? And
Oh, checkmate liberal.
obviously, Velma saying don't teach women to defend themselves, teach men not to murder.
Will you pirate it or watch it on it? I like how you're already assuming I'm gonna watch this show now. I will pirate it because I don't really want to watch this like in comfort. I'd rather watch this locked in front of my computer.
Is obviously in reference to the popular talking point, don't teach women how to avoid being raped, just teach men not to rape. Now obviously this talking point has been torn to shreds, especially on YouTube during 2016.
Men shouldn't rape, and the ones that do are fucking evil, right? But also women should be able to defend themselves because there are men that are evil. I think everybody should be able to defend everybody, okay? And that I should be able to punch anybody ever.
Already know it's illegal. They could get arrested for doing it.
Yeah, Jar, that doesn't stop the large number of serial killers. Yeah. Guys, why do these women need to defend themselves? It's like they just don't understand. I think this is a very dumb point they're making because we all know that murder is illegal. Yeah, that didn't stop the murderers, you fucking idiot.
And just merely being accused of rape can completely destroy someone's social standing. They already know it's wrong, they just don't care. Or they're just currently under the influence of something. I completely support the idea of women taking self-defense courses. This talking point is as stupid as saying, don't teach me to lock my door when I leave my house, teach thieves not to steal. I just can't believe for how many years this talking point has been—
Why do you show XQC and Hassan? What is the argument? Why do you show them?
Torn apart, and it's still being used. By the way, everyone, global waffle is a myth. We had a
guys, I think, fellas, I know that if you're watching me, you probably know that rape bad. Unfortunately, there are many men who feel rape good, so gun, okay?
pretty cold winter this year. Though I won't lie, the pamphlet with the squirrel
Or he
mascot
has
saying
mommy issues. Yeah.
how to make someone else's death about you is absolutely hilarious. There is at least one good writer on this show. The two self-defense trainers are Daphne's moms. Because of course they are. The girls are all gonna face off against one another in a tournament. The winner gets a gun. Gotta be honest, this is the worst tournament arc I've ever seen in any anime ever. We cut to Fred, who's told by one of the other prisoners that a
Yeah, like Mizkif. That's what we call a callback.
Meatloaf is here to see him, and he immediately knows it's Velma. Velma still has the hots for Fred even though she kissed Daphne, and she knows that Fred can't even cut his own meat. Velma starts hallucinating again, and she kicks a guard in the face. Yeah, I'm pretty sure if you kick a prison guard in the face, you'll no longer be visiting prison, you'll just be in prison. Norville gets Velma-
Guys, checkmate, liberal. That would never happen in real life. That would never happen in real life.
out of the hallucination by
Yeah,
simping so
AI
hard that it makes her
Meatloaf,
laugh.
dude.
But because Velma kicked a guard in the face,
But this
she
was like 2021 that he did this show. It was like right after Velma came out. So like, what is that?
is now banned from visiting the prison, which means for as long as Fred is locked up, she cannot interview him. By the way, in this show, Fred is canonically underage, so wouldn't he have been sent to juvie and not prison? Velma
Oh my god.
goes back to the self-defense class where they give, honestly, one of the most odd self-defense tips I've ever heard in my life. If you're a
Guys, you gotta understand, Jar's a black belt in Japanese, okay? Not many people can defend their penis like Jar can defend his penis.
attacked, fall down, and go limp. I gotta be honest, I've never heard any self-defense class give that tip before.
Guy, it's a joke, you fucking idiot!
Velma and Daphne are picked to fight off against one another, and this causes Daphne to run off for some reason, and Velma rolls after her? No, I don't get the joke either. In the bathroom, Velma and Daphne discuss their feelings, and Velma says that she's still into Fred.
How did this guy get so popular, dude? It's actually kind of astounding. This guy's like like one of the most moronic people. He is such a moron.
Whatever reason. Now I can imagine Velma being into Daphne, but why the hell is Daphne into Velma? She literally has no redeeming qualities, and she's unattractive. They both get on the fighting mat, and Daphne kicks Velma down to the ground. Awesome! And then Velma says, Daphne, what are you doing? If I was a real attacker, you could have hurt me. Wait, what? Is this show seriously trying to say that women's self-defense courses teach—
You know, I would like to know how Gamergate ties into this, dude. It's a really funny one.
women not to hurt men when they attack them? When has anyone ever gotten mad at a woman for hurting a man who was attacking her? Aside from a woman.
Dude, I don't know. I'm so glad that stuff with Jar's girlfriend happened. That's so funny. Dude. She's gonna be locked away in a little box. Alright? It's gonna be crazy when Jar goes full JF on her, dude. She could be floating away. Mrs. Just a Robot is going to be in a little banana boat on a trip to Africa. We are never going to see her again. She is gone forever.
Using a gun, of course. We cut to Norville, who's not banned from the prison, interviewing Fred. And Fred says, that he misses his mom because no one watches him pee like she does. Remember, Velma is Mindy Kelly's self-insert, and her self-insert is into a man who can't feed himself or use
what are you even trying to say, dude? Oh, Velma is a self-insert. That means that Velma is Mindy Kaling, and Mindy Kaling is Velma, which means Velma being into Fred is actually Mindy Kaling being into child. That's like that. Like these arguments are ridiculous.
Bathroom by himself. Norville then starts asking Fred about Velma's mom, and brings up how she went missing at his house. This makes Fred nervous, and he gets one of his lackeys to kick Norville out. How does a Nancy boy like Fred have a lackey? We cut back to our anime tournament arc where—
Maybe he's the bottom, Jar, alright? You don't know what their relationship is like.
Velma discovers that going limp allows her to win every fight. Don't get me wrong, going limp can help you in certain fights, but she's not doing it right. She's not exactly Sea King Kaku. And yes, this is where we get that creepy image of Velma that you've seen everywhere. By the way, this is apparently a stolen joke from Mr. Bean. Daphne takes out a pen and starts stabbing this big girl. Hey, lesbian cop.
Yeah, Mindy Kaling has made some odd statements about men she worked with before. Yeah, Mindy Kaling does. I will say this: Mindy Kaling does seem to have a white man fetish, which I know sounds like a joke, but yes.
If you're looking for the killer, I think you found them. And it's your own kid, apparently. By the way, I think that girl that Daphne just murdered might be trans, so, yeah, that's,
Dude, this is like... How do people watch this shit, dude? This is the most exhausting shit ever. I don't know how you can be plugged into the culture war 24/7. I don't know how I was a person who was plugged into the culture war 24/7. Because it just makes it's so miserable.
probably one of the reasons why the murder rate is so high. It literally just happened right in front of two cops and they did nothing to stop it.
Mindy Kaling sucks, but who cares? That, but Jared Leto?
Norvell is talking with his therapist dad and he tells him that he just doesn't think he's cut out to be a therapist. But then his dad gives him a magic cardigan which will make people tell him their problems. Velma learns that Daphne does like her but won't admit to it because she's popular. But then she comes up with a plan to steal Daphne's diary. Norvell interviews Fred again and by using
this entire thing is just him reviewing
the magic cardigan, he gets him to open up and...
Or not even reviewing, it's just him repeating the plot.
And it turns out Fred actually knows nothing. Well, that was pointless. We get to the final fight between Daphne and Velma.
This is quite literally this is filibustering of the highest order, dude. Holy shit. Like, it's honestly astounding.
And Velma decides to read out Daphne's diary to everyone. She thinks this will destroy her popularity, but all she reads out is, yeah, sometimes she goes to therapy. This, of course, makes everyone turn on Velma. You know, I may have autism, but even I'm not autistic enough to do something like this. You see, mental health is no joke. Just ignore the fact that the writers have been making jokes about mental health throughout this entire episode.
It's actually kind of, the world he lives in is complete. You know, when Jar says stuff on the internet and he pretends, it's kind of like, on one hand, I want to not believe him because he's such a conniving little freak. But then on the other hand, it's just like, I actually think this guy might be as stupid as I suspected and that there's zero intellect behind those eyes, dude. You know, like, I think it actually is that empty, dude.
Keep in mind, Velma is supposed to be the smartest character in this show, but unfortunately you can only write a character as smart as, well, you are, and the writers are idiots. Then we get to the absolute...
Boy, pinnacle of intellectual enlightenment here, just the robot.
Best part of the episode, Daphne kicks Velma into a wall. Also, apparently she kicked Velma so hard her tubes are now tied, so she can't breathe, which is good for, well, everyone in the world.
Why'd you say it like that? Why'd you say breed? You said breed with the gusto of a man that should not have said that way, dude. You know, I don't like that energy.
Velma gets therapy from Norvell's dad, but because he doesn't have his magic cardigan anymore, he has to use something else to get her to open up, and he uses a water fountain. I'm sure someone somewhere finds this funny, but I don't. Later on, Velma is riding in a car with Norvell. Fred probably didn't do it. Yeah, but isn't it nice to see a rich white guy get falsely convicted for once? I'm too distracted to enjoy it. Like, I seriously want to know, is there a single likable character in this show? Fred and the other prisoners start rioting, and this will lead to nothing. It's only here to pad out this episode. Yes, they do escape, but whether they did or didn't...
Dude.
The outcome would have still been the same. Trust me, you'll understand why when we get to episode 4. Velma apologizes to Daphne for reading her journal...
We're 40 minutes into this, and most of this is just him making snarky quips about the show and repeating the plot.
out loud, and just like in episode 2, Daphne forgives her way too quickly. They reveal...
Breed and the character is an underage teen. Are we sure his girlfriend is real? She is real. She is real, yes.
They do have feelings for one another, but for now...
I will say this. I begged Beckett to tell me who she was for a really long time, and he would never budge. So...
They'll just be friends. Wow, Velma just friend-zoned Daphne like she did to Norvell. Norvell is talking with his dad while they witness the prison riot.
It's me and my completely one-way beef with the Just a Robot extended universe, dude.
Norvell's father tells his son that he's not ready for the cardigan. Norvell hands it back to his father, but then something drops out of it. It's a piece of paper that says Crystal Cove Insane Asylum. Norvell questions his father as to...
A recap with opinions sprinkled in. They're not even, like, informed opinions, though. They're, like, completely uninformed, misconstrued opinions.
Why he has this, and his father gets really nervous saying he has a friend who works there. Norvell, why are you questioning this? And, Norvell's father, why are you so nervous? Therapists work with people in insane asylums all the time.
Yeah, she kept defending him online. That was the only reason that she became a known quantity. Is that she got clocked doing exactly the stupid shit that was going to get her clocked. Not like, and by the way, it's not like her, like, she's just existing online as a person, really, outside of that one comedic moment where I was like a cartoon character villain to her. But she was like yapping in one of the ACC servers, basically, where all the little like degen ACC people hang out. And she was there. And so that's the only reason I know about this.
Of the ordinary. Norville's dad
How we find out Jar is dating Emiru.
says his friend who works there is Dr. Bad Excuse. Norville puts the magic cardigan back on to get his father to answer his question. Norville's father opens up and says, "Son, I have to tell you something about your mother. And no, this has nothing to do with the next episode. Yep, the only reason why the cardigan was so important was so that something super convenient could happen, so that the plot could
Diesel, how'd you find out she had a big forehead? Did she see a pic? Did you see a pic of her? No, I was given her YouTube channel by a trusted source, and I guess it was correct. Yeah, that's really it.
move forward. The episode ends with Fred being caught by the two lesbian cops, and he's tased. You know how I told you to wait until episode 4 to learn why the whole prison riot was pointless? Yeah, it turns out you just had to finish the credits to realize that scene was entirely pointless. I do apologize that my review of episode 3 was shorter than my review of episode 1 and 2, but that's because—
Oh, honey, don't worry. This was all way too long, actually.
Well, not that much happens in this episode. However, a lot of the things in this episode are important for understanding episode 4. So let's move on to reviewing it.
Jar, I hope your entire empire turns to ash in your mouth. Fuck you. I can't stand this shit. It is absolutely the most inane dribble possible. I actually find it astounding that you've made a career off of this. It's honestly astounding. I hope they keep making bad shows just so that way you can make a living. I really do. All right? Because when you make a living, I make a living. All right? You and I, we complete each other, all right? It used to be me and this other guy, but he died like 5 times. And then it was also this other lady, and then she went crazy, and then it was this other guy, and he was just like an annoying pick-me slime ball. But yeah, I'm bored of this video too, actually. I think 40 minutes is enough. Because of the original, yeah, it all started because of a forehead conversation. I hope the best for you, Jar. I hope like your clout continues to have capital gains, dude. I hope it continues. Holy shit. I'm fucking exhausted. Batman and the Joker, but like even more tension than could possibly be. I need a drink. Diesel, can you take us to Denny's? You know, man, I don't know about that. Oh, by the way, if you're subscribed to this channel, you might have noticed that I've been doing like short form commentary videos. How do we feel about me doing that? Are we like, this is better than uploading stream highlights? Like, what's the take on that? Can I get like an audience barometer on that while we're here? Will you ever look at ranting for vengeance again? I mean, maybe on one of those slow days, but you know. I like them. Okay, I like them. Yeah, I like both. Yeah, I just figured I needed a little something else on this. It depends on the topic. Yeah, I mean, I figured like I don't want to do like long ones because I feel like a lot of guys stretch them out to 8 minutes. I could do 8 minutes sometimes, not all the time. Like that Sam Pepper one didn't really have like 8 minutes worth. You know, I got slightly confused a couple times because I thought they were streams. Yeah, it's just sometimes people don't want to watch the entire like VOD, you know. Might be a better short form and more focused. Yeah. Just having a nice 3-minute explainer of what the thing is like, I like it. You know, that's my cring take on it. I don't really want to do anything like crazy, just a little something that I could bang out real quick. You know. Anyway, I guess Mr. Diop block is going live soon, so I'm gonna send you guys over. And yeah, I'll be out of here. I'll get out of here. Anyway, have a good night, guys.